Section 7-2, and it's talking about negative and zero exponents. When you have a number like 3 to the 5th power, or sometimes they'll write a to the b power or something like this, this thing is called the base, okay, the bottom number, and this thing up here is called the exponent. So when we're saying raising things negative exponents, we're talking about things up here being negative. All right, and the big number, the bottom number is called the base, and the top number is called the exponents. Okay. So do you guys know what 2 to the 3 power means?
Yes.
What does 2 to the 3 power mean, Jordan?
2 times 2 times 2.
Right, that means 2 times itself 3 times. So that means 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 8. Okay? And a lot of people will just say, oh, that's equal to 6. It's not equal to 2 times 3. It's not equal to 6. So this would be wrong if you did that, right? So 2 to the 3rd power is equal to 8. 2 to the 4th power is equal to, who knows? 16. You just times 2 each time. 2 to the 5th power is
32.
32. You just keep doubling. Now, what if I went backwards? Okay. So, first of all, what am I doing? Yeah, I mean, really, we're starting a new unit. So 2 to the 5th power. So what am I doing to go from here to here? Sit down. Sit down. Okay, we'll start. Okay. What are we doing to go from there to there? What am I doing? Multiplying by 2, right? So what would be 2 to the 2nd power? 4. What would be 2 to the 1st power?
2.
What would be 2 to the 0 power?
1.
Why is it 1? That's right, Owen. Why is it 1?
It is.
You're right. But why? Well, look. So say I stack them in order. Here's 2 to the 3rd power, right? 2 to the 3rd power, we decided was 8. 2 to the 4th power is equal to 16. What am I doing? What am I doing to get from here to here? From here to here, from here to here, from here to here.
Dividing by 2.
So the opposite of multiplying is dividing by 2, right? So 2 to the 0 power, to make things work, would have to be, as these exponents are going down by 1, 2 to the 0 power would have to be 1.
But isn't
right?
it 2 times 0?
That's 2. No, it's not 2 times 0. It's 2 to the 0. Okay? Different. It's not 2 times 0. This does not mean 2 times 1. This does not mean 2. This does not mean 2 times 3. It means 2 times 2 times 2. This means 2 times 2, which is 4. 2 times 4. And so what would, if I went down 1 more power, what do you think that would be?
Negative 2. Positive 2.
What's 1 divided by 2? 0.5, or another better way to write that is 1/2.
Would it be
Okay.
negative 1?
What would 2 to the negative 2 power be?
No, 1/4.
1/4, very good. Okay.
Holy smokes.
And you're on the roll. Okay. 1/4, because what I'm doing, to get from here to here, I'm dividing by 2, dividing by 2, dividing by 2, right? Dividing by 2 to get to here, right? Dividing 1/2 by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2, right? So if I divide that by 2, I get 1/4. And that's why negative exponents, you don't think of it this way, but they actually come out to be positive numbers, even though you think, oh, it's a negative number because it's got a negative exponent. Yes, sir.
So why isn't it negative 2 times negative 2?
Where? Here?
The bottom one.
because that's not what it means. It means negative 2 times negative 2 would be negative 2 raised to the second power, you see, not to the negative. So let's keep going with this, okay? Let's try this. What if I had 5, let's do it with, where's my notes? Let's try it with 3, okay? No, let's try it with 10. 10 to the 4th power. Anyone know what 10 to the 4th power is?
10,000. 100,000.
It's 1 with 4 zeros after it, right?
10,000.
So that would be 10, 0, 10,000, that's right, okay? 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. What would be 10 to the 3rd power?
1,000.
1,000, very good. What would be 10 to the 2 power?
100.
100. What would be 10 to the 1 power?
10.
10. What would be 10 to the 0 power? 1. You see that there is a pattern there, okay? Because what am I doing to this number to get that number?
Subtract the 0.
No, yeah, subtract the 0, but what am I really doing mathematically?
Divided by 10.
Dividing by 10, right? So if I divide this by 10, good square, okay? Divide this by 10, I get this. Divide this by 10, I get this. Divide this by 10, right? Divide by 10, I get this. So what would be, how would I write, so this is 10 to the 0 power, so then I'm going to go down to 10 to the negative 1 power. What is 1 divided by 10? 1/10, right? And 10 to the negative 2 power. What do you think? What's 1/10 divided by 10? 1/100. Right? So even though it's to a negative power, see, all I'm doing is I'm dividing by 10, okay? Dividing by 10, and I get these numbers. So that's when you have a negative exponent, it's not going to be a negative number necessarily, unless you start with a negative number. Like that. So here's the rule, okay? Yes, ma'am.
I actually just noticed something.
What did you just notice?
Well, if you look back at all the positive exponents, then
Rules, okay? Give it, oops, I want this kind of paper. Okay? So here's the rules. Negative, or anything raised to the 0 power, anything, any number raised to the 0 to the 0 power is
1.
equals 1. So another way to write that is a to the 0 is always equal to 1. So for example, what's 3 raised to the 0 power? 1. What's 13.7 raised to the 0 power? 1. What's negative 2 raised to the 0 power?
1.
1. So with this one, you have to be careful because the negative, this has to be inside parentheses. Otherwise, you would go 2 to the 0 and then make it negative. So this is equal to 1, but this, negative 2 raised to the 0, is equal to negative 1. And the reason for that is first you do this, then you do this. You know, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, okay? Multiply, divide, add, subtract. So when I have a negative in front of here, it's like multiplying by negative 1. So first I would do this, make it positive 1, then I multiply by negative to make it negative 1. In this case, it's take this whole quantity and raise it to the 0 and 1. What would be this? Look, here we'll do some fancy math. Who knows what that is?
1.
That's also equal to 1. Okay? Pi raised to 0. Okay? So now you can be pretty clever. Okay, so anything raised to 0 is 1. Okay? Negative exponents, and this is the thing I think, this is the thing I think that Christina was observing. negative exponents. Let me change colors. That's hard to see. Is that hard to see? Negative exponents. A to the negative n is equal to 1 over a to the positive n. I think that's what you were observing, right, Christina?
Yes.
Okay, that's what she discovered for us. So if I have, for instance, 5 to the negative 2, how can I rewrite that? How could I rewrite that? What were you going to say there, Nolan? What?
Yeah, it's 125.
Yeah, it's 1 over 5 to the positive 2, right? Which is the same as Nolan just told us, 1 over 25. Easy? So if it's negative, you bring it downstairs and you make it positive. All right? Try, who can tell me what's 3 to the negative 2? 3 to the negative 3. Who's going to get that one? Whoops. I wanted to say to the negative 3, not to the negative 3. Who can tell me what 3 to the negative 3 is? Other than no one. Who can tell me what 3 to the negative
1/3. Negative 127.
3? Very good, Owen. That's exactly right, okay? So it's 1 over 3 to the 3, and 3 to the 3 is not 9, right? It's 1, that means 1 over 3 times 3 times 3, which is 1 over 9 times 3, which is 127. Follow that? Kind of tricky. Okay. You feel it? You're feeling the love? You're feeling the math love? Okay. All right. So, so this one's a little bit trickier. What if I had, here's another one. What if I had, let's change colors. Negative 4 raised to the negative 2. Who can tell me what that is? Negative 4 raised to the negative 2. What do you think there, Nolan?
Negative 160.
Perfect. Okay? Because this means, okay, let me just show you this, okay? This means negative 1 times 4 raised to the negative 2. Because if there's a negative sign in front of it,
Where's the
it
1?
means, because if there's a negative sign in front of it, it means I'm really multiplying by negative 1 that you can't see, okay? And the reason I wrote it that way is because this is equal to negative 1 times 1 over 4 to the positive 2 power. And that's equal to negative 1 over, negative 1 times 1 over 16, which is equal to negative 116. So you don't have to do all those steps, but I'm just trying to show you where that comes from, why it's a negative number and if it's not a positive. If it were in parentheses, like this, then it would be positive, because it's 1 over negative 4 raised to the, 1 over negative 4 raised to the, so if I did it like this, this means 1 over negative 4 raised to the 2 power, and negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 116. So if it had brackets on it, then it would be positive. But if it doesn't have brackets, there's a negative 1 in front, and first I have to do my exponent stuff, and then I do my multiply by negative 1. Okay? So you got to be careful with that. Are we done? Unfortunately, we're not done yet. You guys getting it? Okay. Hey, Sydney. You're not Sydney? That's Abby. Abby, put your phone away. Thank you. Away. Bye. All right then. Next. So Then we get into some trickier things, slightly trickier. So sometimes they'll say simplify. Oh, listen, it's not that bad. Only 10 more minutes of pain. Okay?
Wait.
Simplify. Simplify. 5a to the third b to the negative 2. Okay? And usually by simplify, they mean get rid of the negative exponents. So how can I get rid of negative exponents?
Divide.
Well, how can I make that negative 3 positive 3?
Multiply by negative 1.
I mean the negative 2 a positive 2.
Multiply by negative 1.
Can't mark, no. Just bring it downstairs, okay? 5a over, this means 5a times 1 over b squared, okay? Which is equal to 5a over b squared. So if you see a negative exponent on top, just bring it downstairs and make it positive. They say simplify.
Should do 8 to the third.
Oops, sorry, I forgot the third. Thanks. Thanks, Miss Lindgren. Okay? 5a to the third over b squared. Okay? Alright? So, now, here's another little tricky thing. If I have a negative exponent in the bottom, like this, what do you think I could do with that? Anyone know how to rewrite that?
B with 5.
Watch. This means, I'm going to show you this. This means 1 over, you don't have to memorize all this. This means 1 over b to the 5th. Do you guys remember copy dot flip? Copy dot flip, have you heard that before?
C.
If you're dividing by a fraction, okay, copy the top, dot, then flip b to the 5th over 1, which is just equal to what? What's that equal to?
B with 5 is the
b with 5 is the exponent. So what I just did, I rewrote b to the negative 5th as 1 over b to the 5th, and then I copied that flip. But the rule is just, if it's negative on the bottom, bring it up top and make it positive. Okay, so it's negative on the bottom, you just bring it on the top and make it positive. So if I have 2x over y to the negative 5, and they say simplify, how would I do that? Hold on there. Who can tell me how to do that? What do you say there? Who said something? That's Sage. What is it? No. Jordan. Go ahead. What did you say?
1 dot and then.
You don't have to do any dots. No, just rewrite it. If this is negative, what do I do with it?
Positive.
And where does it go?
On the bottom.
No.
Up top.
It goes up top. So what's this equal to?
5.
Yeah, but where does it go?
Oh.
2xy to the 5. Like that. Okay? You just bring it upstairs and make it positive. Yes, Sawyer.
Why do you have 1 over 1 over b to the 5th?
Because b to the negative 5th, right, can be rewritten as 1 over b to the positive 5. Yes?
Yeah. Where's
So I'm just trying to show you where this rule comes from. Okay? So so it's still 1 over b to the 5th, right? So when you divide by a fraction, say you have 3/8, I know you did this in middle school, 3/8 or maybe before that, and you have 5/7, okay? If you have a double fraction like that, the rule is 3/8, you dot, you flip, okay? That's how you divide by a fraction. Copy the top, dot, flip. And so that's equal to 21 over 20. You don't have to write that down, right? That's the rule, okay? So what I'm trying to show you is, where does the rule that if I have a negative exponent on the bottom, I bring it up top, come from? It comes from dividing by a fraction, okay? Making it positive and then dividing by a fraction. Okay, you try this one. Who's got this one? Here's an especially tricky one. Let's do 3x to the negative 2 over y to the negative 1. Who thinks they can simplify that without any negative exponents? Without any negative exponents. There's big candy involved if you get it right. So let's, then we're going to see one more thing, and then I'm going to let you get started, and then we can help. Okay? So you need to let this saturate your brain a little bit. We can move on, right?
Yes.
Take off the rest of the class.
Take off the rest of class.
Oh, I get.
Yeah, like I'll let
No.
you ideas.
I'll get it.
Okay.
Just as a lot. I made that for you, Jess. Good selling.
Okay. So next thing we're gonna see. So evaluate started, and you need to